Mailbag time.
Mailbag.
Let's talk mailbag. Tiffany wants to know, I was under contract and was supposed to close on Friday. They are now telling me that the big bad bank sold the house to some investor in a bulk sale, otherwise known as a tape sale. Is that legal, Frank?
A tape sale. Well, if there was any kind of clause in the contract, that would be the only way.
You got to go to the contract.
Yeah, you got to go to the contract. If there wasn't
this
a
stuff
clause,
happens?
Well, I haven't had it happen to me or anybody else around me.
All right, first
I've
of all,
heard about it.
They exist, right? I mean, you know of these sales because you've lost listings to these sales, right?
Yeah, but that's before I'm under contract, though. And they specifically will say, do not go under contract until either this sells at bulk sale or it's returned to you in your inventory. But myself, I've heard of it, and then I've also heard of lawsuits because of it. I haven't experienced it myself,
heard of unicorns, too.
Yeah, because technically, once they're under contract, the seller, the bank is obligated to fulfill the terms.
You got to go back to the contract and see if there's a clause that says, in the event that the investor or blah blah whatever, some kind of verbiage. Yes, exactly. That's if not, then this person's got a pretty good legal case.
She's got an opportunity, but let's just go on the assumption that all this is true, and somewhere, okay, now we're all subject to this, terms and conditions, all that kind of stuff, 42 pages of contracts, every little word you got to read. Yeah. You actually made fun of somebody a couple weeks ago that read the entire contract at closing.
No, read entire.
That's 342 pages.
Okay, but so now what happens in this case? Let's assume this all happened. In this case, Tiffany went through the contract. And, instead of doing 100% of the words, maybe she read 80%. And in the 20, the bank slipped in, hey, we reserve the right to put this in a bulk sale no matter when we are in the process. That's cool?
No, that's actually the agent's responsibility.
Yeah.
That's the agent's legal.
You're fired.
And this is a unique case here because I'd have to go back and review the contracts that I deal with too, which I do pretty frequently, and I don't know of that clause being anywhere in there. So I don't know
if you're an agent and you're listening to the show, which you should be, by the way, you just found something out that you may not have known, and you got to read that sucker now.
You actually have to work now.
If that shows up, I think the bank is really
Frank,
just a poo-poo head.
Yeah. What would that clause be called?
But more than likely,
the "I'm going to screw you" clause.
And to the beginning, you were saying the big bad bank. I doubt any of the big banks would have a clause like that because
it's Fred's bank.
They will have their check and balance system first. First, we'll attempt a bulk sale. If it does not work, we will strike it out of there, and we're not going to make that a condition to the actual standard buyer now. The standard buyer, we're moving forward. The banks I deal with right now, I have had the bank accept an offer, and then 2 days later got an offer that was way better than that offer. But the bank doesn't care. Once they start, they make their commitment to that buyer, and they move forward. And unless it falls apart, and only if it falls apart will they move on to the next buyer.
Now, Frank, actually, my father was asking me this today at breakfast. I stop over by and get Grandma food.
Was he asking you?
Was he in the right box while he asked?
Was he asking you, who's this guy, Frank?
Actually, this is totally on
topic. Is this another question?
He was asking,
Okay.
He was asking, he's backup offers, as I was telling you today, on several investment properties, on REO properties.
Mm-hmm. Foreclosure
properties. And he's a backup on one in particular, and he was asking, what if the first falls out or whatever, and can an investor come in with the all-cash offer over and swoop in, even though he's the backup?
No. What will happen is once
I told you I did.
Once a transaction is canceled, the seller, they'll have me go back and contact all the backup offers to see if they're still interested. But even the backup offers have to resubmit, and anyone else can put an offer in too. It's like you start all over again.
Really? So
if you made an offer, you get first shot, or you get an opportunity to resubmit.
You get an opportunity to resubmit. The only advantage you have there is maybe you've done a little more due diligence. Maybe when you get your counter, you're going to go up a little more, or whatever. You have a better familiarity.
Come in and
no, you can't just come in and they don't just say, well, who is the next best person? Let's start with them and go into escrow. No, they go back
and contact all the backup offers and say, hey, go ahead and make another offer.
Yeah. All right. So Tiffany, you go back and look at the contract and see if they snuck it in. And if it's not in there,
and ask your agent
you're fired.
You're fired.
And then go back, and if it's not in there, get yourself a real estate lawyer.
Yeah, because, I mean, doesn't it make sense, guys, that if you're under contract and it says buyer's duties, seller's duties, but nowhere does it say in the event this happens and we can go ahead and drop you like a bad habit, then it's just basic common sense.
Yes,
you got a legal problem.
Can I ask?